We took things for granted.
She's right, you know. It's a miracle we're playing The Division 2 considering the rocky launch the original had. A lot of you lambasted it for not being the game you had in your heads, and you kind of missed out on the amazing game that was there at launch. And lo and behold, with great publisher and developer support, that game became something even more phenomenal as time went on. And now we're sitting down playing The Division 2. Welcome to my anti-review. If you don't know what that is, buckle the fuck up and you'll find out, buckaroo.
Some survived.
I will say the politics of this game are interesting. As you have that opening, you might get a little nervous if you're a slight liberal like I am. I do lean more to the left than I do to the right. But I like to find myself as more of a libertarian than anything else. I like to find the middle ground because I don't think an extreme on either side is good. And that's what I like about the fantasy of this game. We do have to remember this is a fantasy, because if there was such a thing as The Division, and who knows, there might be a secret police out there, but let's just pretend there's not, and makes us feel a lot safer. And if that was real, you know, we'd be shitting our pants. That'd be scary as hell. But in the game, the fact that you're actually out there to truly help people, you're not out there to bend the system to your will, to, you know, exploit it and brutalize people. I like that, and I like there's a lot of narrative justifications for what you're doing. You're finding food, you're saving hostages. These are really cool missions to go on, and what is kind of the only Escape from New York style video game franchise out there. You're in a city under siege by all these gangs, and it's your job as this badass military personnel to save the day. And I've always found that idea and fantasy enthralling, and I grew up on these kind of action movies. I grew up watching Escape from New York, Die Hard, and I'm just like, I love that kind of fantasy. To me, I equate it to the same thing as The Lord of the Rings. It's just a fantasy. Just because they're shooting guns doesn't mean it's not the same fantasy as if they're swinging a sword. It's just another kind of fantasy. I don't think that because I like these kind of games that means I actually have to support this kind of behavior in real life. For example, I'm very anti-gun, but I love shooting games. I think that that's where guns belong, in fantasy, because it's really cool to see fireworks and stuff go off. It's just the consequences of when you use that shit in real life on other people that I don't fucking like. But I love anytime you use it for a story, anytime you're using it to try to create challenges, and I love laser tag arenas and airsoft and paintball. Even though all these things do train us just to be mindless killers, I'm not going to be one of those motherfuckers. I've grown up playing video games. I've punched people for saying that shit. But you do have to think for a while when you play so many of these military games that just maybe the reason why everybody shut the fuck up about violent video games is just maybe those people in power of the country realize that, hey, this isn't such a negative on their side because it's really easy to go from playing a video game to going to be a soldier. And I don't mean that you're going to be a good soldier by playing a video game. I just mean it's really easy to convince a lot of mindless, dumb, stupid teenagers to join a pointless war so they can get the glory of being a fucking hero. Get your glory for being a hero in the game. That's my PSA out the way for this video. Now, there are going to be people talking about the sketchy politics in the game, and you could do that, but as I've said before, my PSA for the most part is over, and I think we can actually talk about things in the game that are actually worth discussing, like, for instance, the slightly inconsistent writing. You'll have a ton of great story missions, and you'll have a lot of great narrative sections to play through. And the characters are generally good. And here comes the big but. There are some missions and some dialogue and some characters that are written like they came out of a Tom Clancy game from 2003. You're not even just using cursing as your fucking punctuation, you're using cursing as your everyday dialogue. And I get that it's a fucked situation, but it just feels a little juvenile and a little immature, and I think as gamers we can move past that when there's so much in this game that's realistic, that's grounded, that's just so well written. Let's move past the over-the-top R-rated sense of the game. We get it, it's mature rated, but I would have rather had blood splatter along walls and maybe some more visceral violence than having to hear curse words every second of the game. This is a rather odd complaint coming from a person who curses as much as I do. But I think there's a time and a place for it, and when you have certain characters using it every other third or fourth word, it's not to be punctuation, it's just because you have a lack of imagination because you've had to write so much story for the game. But that's actually where the con kind of becomes a pro. There's so much content in this game that it was going to happen that some of the writing would not be as good as the standard that the game clearly sets, especially in the opening hours. And that's honestly fine when you have 60, 70 hours of game at launch, when you have a main story that will probably take anyone, if you rush through it, 30 hours at least. And when you tack on all of the extra side content that they have just loaded this game with, I mean, there is so much content in this game, and it's all meaningful content. There's a lot of great upgrades to find. You're always finding new and quality loot. I haven't found any loot really that's been just totally irrelevant to my character. I've either found armor that's useful or weapons I want to try out. And when it comes to just the different variety of weapons, there's an ungodly sort. This game outclasses probably every other looter shooter out there in terms of the quantity and the quality of its loot. If you are one of those people bitching about Anthem, you will not be bitching about the Division 2's loot. You will always be getting something Q so long as you're playing through this SKU. And you have a lot of reasons to keep playing through that SKU, man. I mean, the story missions themselves are huge and expansive and grander than anything you would have found in the original Division. They're fantastic. But then you have these side missions that take place in all of these incredible environments. Even if there's not a great narrative to some of these side missions, even if there's not a great narrative to some of the missions, the environments tell an even more impressive story half of the time. You know, these games do take imagination, they do take a certain mind, and they are for a certain crowd. You have to like that statistical part of it, where you're constantly getting better numbered gear, where you're just improving your character constantly. And it's not about those big leaps of improvement, but it's just about getting a little better here and a little better there. And when you have a map that has so many things to do, that's going to impress the hell out of a lot of people. A lot of people are going to sit down and go, yes, let's keep doing it. You know, they're going to hit each little activity on the map, the control points you have to take over, these little stashes you have to find, these little battles you have to take part in. So many different things, all granted centered around shooting the fuck out of different things, but there's a lot of different things that you're going to have to be doing objective-wise, more than just blowing people's heads off, and that's all fantastic. But there's always going to be a person who's playing it who's not going to be addicted to going from point to point, who's going to find just the entire idea of so many things to do completely overwhelming. And that's okay. There are a lot of games that I've played where I was just totally overwhelmed by the sheer amount of crap to do. Red Dead Redemption 2 springs to mind very frequently. It's a great game. I'm not knocking it as a bad game at all. Put your pitchforks down, people. I'm just saying that game is fucking overwhelming. I mean, my god, the story alone lasts over 40 fucking hours. That's a lot of time. That's Final Fantasy level length we're talking, people. So I understand getting overwhelmed by these games. However, I really like when a game like The Division 2 has a sense of pacing that's really unique. And it's unique because a lot of games just don't get that combination right. You have so many things to do, yet the level of satisfaction you get and the level of challenge that's also presented means that there's a reason to push you forward and there's a reason to sit the controller down, not in frustration, but in satisfaction. Now, I'm sure that my Dark Souls players out there know what I'm talking about. I'm not one of you because I equate to playing a game that's that punishingly difficult to BDSM. You know, I know there's a lot of people out there who like getting their little asses spanked and they get off on that shit And I'm not putting you down for that. I applaud you, as a matter of fact. You do you, my friends. I'm just saying that games like Dark Souls aren't for me when you die and have all your shit taken away from you or have some ungodly consequence put on you. I know that that's what happens in real life, but our games don't have to totally reflect that. What I like about The Division is basically what happens if you fail a control point while you're going through just the world itself. You'll have to respawn at a respawn point, which means a safe house or a control point that you've already taken. And those points that you have to respawn on are quite limited as the game starts, so you may have to make quite a trek back to where you were. But you have all of your items you picked up, you have all your progress, and you've lost nothing. All you have to do is keep trying until you succeed. And that's the gameplay loop I like. I don't like being punished for making mistakes, because, in my opinion, losing the fight is enough punishment in of itself. I think that if you have to go back to a 10 to 15 minute battle and start from scratch, they do not need to punish you in any way. You're already kind of punished enough for having to redo all the work that you did right. But then when you go do all that work right and you fix that one little mistake you made, that's where the satisfaction comes in, and that's where the game has its huge bursts of fun. And this is a battle you're seeing right now that took me about 3 tries to succeed at. It took me getting all of the skills that I needed, because when you start out, you don't have access to 2 different skills to use. You have to get one, and then you have to complete the missions to get the second one. And once you have the drone, or in my case, the drone and the turret, you become a force to be fucking reckoned with. And that's when the game gets even more insane. That's why I love playing these games on my own, because there's such an enthralling and visceral challenge that when I finally finish these fights on my own lone wolfing it like Snake Plissken, that I'm like, man, I am a fucking badass motherfucker. And then I try to take a level that's way too big for me, and I go, oh, I'm not a badass motherfucker at all. Thank you for humbling me, The Division 2. I appreciate that. But if you find something too fucking hard for you, all you have to do is pull up the map screen, hold triangle, and you'll send out a beacon for help. You'll send out your own personal distress call. And any agent out in the world who's on their map, and they scroll over to the little menu where you can click answer call for help, and you will have another agent beamed to your game to help you. It may take some time, so when I send out my call for help, I like to do this. Just to, take the pressure off. I have sent out a call for help when I needed to be respawned, and after about 10 minutes I gave up. But I do like that system in the game. I like that when you go out into the game world, you're in your own personal game world, and you have to either matchmake with people before leaving one of the safe house areas where you can't actually meet up with people face to face, or you have to call them into your game. I like that. Yeah, it does bring me to the one oddity. Since you only see other players in safe rooms or in the dark zone, and when you're playing through the main story missions, you're in your own personal single-player world that you invite other people in, why is the game online only? I guess that it must use the servers for some gameplay power. We'll never know. I just always feel sad with these kind of games because I worry that in a decade I won't be able to revisit them. But that's kind of my own personal fear and nitpicks, and you know what? You shouldn't wait a decade to play this if you're interested. You should definitely play it today because it's a hell of a lot of fun. And you shouldn't wait to live your life. You should live it today. Guess I had one more PSA for you guys. Later days.